Hey, what's going on guys? JC here, and today we'll be going over 10 lesser known tips when playing in the top lane, inspired by Phi. Let's get started. Coming in at number 1, a successful laner should be wary of jungle timings and be able to hold on to their summoner spells and their lives should a gank come their way. A golden rule to follow is jungle gank timings are based off enemy buff spawns. We are talking about red and blue buffs. These spawn at a minute 30 game time, which gives you crucial information. You can expect a gank anytime past the 2-minute 40 mark. Ward the river brush slightly in advance and do not push your lane unless you have built up a sizable minion wave to help you 1v2 should a gank occur. Number 2. This closely ties into the first one, which is knowing respawn timers. At the start of the game, pay attention to see if the enemy bot lane arrives late. If they do, this means the enemy jungler started bot side and was given a leash. Therefore, expect enemy bot side buff to be taken and the jungler is heading towards top side for his other buff. Therefore, a gank will come after the 2-minute 40 mark should you overextend in lane. And what's even more crucial about this information is exactly 5 minutes later, those same buffs will respawn. Therefore, after the 7-minute 40 mark, the enemy jungler will again be top side of the map and can gank you in the exact same fashion if you were to overextend in lane. I've included a table to show all the respawn timers of jungle camps for your reference. If instead the enemy top laner arrives late and was therefore leashing, danger ping your bot lane. This is because we know the enemy ADC and support are now free to camp a tribush or river and cheese your bot lane who was leashing. The other noteworthy tip is the 2-minute 40 mark that I spoke of earlier. This gank will instead be headed straight towards bot or mid lane. If you are serious about improving yourself, take the extra step by playing or watching high elo streamers play the jungle role and getting a feel for pathing. This will help you get into the minds of a jungler a lot better. Number 3. The first 2 tips should only be used as a guideline, helping you place red flags at key timestamps of the game. The only exception is camping. Junglers will do this if they manage to successfully get a kill or blow your flash. All they do is simply farm a nearby camp or scuttle crab and wait for you to walk back or TP into lane for a quick repeat kill. It all comes down to making that one crucial mistake of flashing away instead of staying back during that very first gank. It's honestly a snowball depending on certain aggressive junglers that you face, such as Lee Sin, Nidalee, Elise. So to sum it up, what did we learn from this particular tip? At 2-minute 40 and onwards, expect a gank. If you lose your flash or die, it is nobody else's fault but your own. There is the super rare occasion of a level 2 cheese gank, but only a select few champions can pull this off properly. If you survive a cheese gank, the enemy jungler will be put very far behind for the rest of the game. Number 4. We now have the knowledge to survive ganks efficiently. Let's turn our attention to wave management. The important rule is, you want the first wave of minions to die off as the second wave approaches. This is to keep the lane stable rather than shoving to the enemy turret causing you to miss CS and be overextended due to an unfavorable lane freeze, which I will go over later in this video. The other very important reason is, each wave has 6 minions, and it takes 7 minions for solo laners to reach level 2. Ideally you want to walk up and fight or trade with your opponent as the 7th minion is about to die, giving you that level 2 advantage. This allows you to fight more aggressively once the second wave comes, giving you kill pressure. It also helps you build up that minion wave advantage to make the push into the enemy tower. A large minion wave early on is very hard to contest even if you are getting ganked. Crashing big waves into the enemy tower is your ultimate goal. Depending on health levels, you will be able to harass or even dive the enemy as a result. On the other hand, let's say these aren't very viable options at the time. Well, the other benefit to crashing a huge wave into tower is the moment that these minions die off, the enemy wave will automatically start pushing towards you. If in danger of being ganked, just stay back a bit and let the lane push towards you. Once the wave is near your tower, either rinse and repeat the push or set up a lane freeze. So, to recap, slow push the first wave that meets in the center and fast push the next 2. This wave management rule should be used at all points in laning phase in order to maximize your gold, EXP and CS while denying as much as possible from the enemy. Number 5. Setting up a freeze. This is a very advanced tactic but can sometimes happen automatically for you, if given the occasion that the enemy is clueless or was forced out of lane. It is very game breaking and can completely deprive enemies of gold and EXP if done correctly. The rule is to keep 4 or more enemy minions alive over the number of minions that you have. This will ensure that the enemy minion wave is perpetually pushing towards your tower. It helps to drag the enemy minions away just outside tower range to perpetuate this freeze. Number 6. Smart trades. This is essential if you want to limit the windows of opportunity for the enemy to aggress onto you. Every auto attack you can get onto the enemy and immediately backing away while they go for CS is crucial to your success in lane. This is because the enemy cannot retaliate with their own auto attack while CSing a minion. It is also important to back away to avoid enemy minion damage. Number 7. Abuse cooldown windows. Similar to smart trades, you want to go for an all-in or a simple trade when the enemy uses a particular cooldown. An example is Riven's Q or Teemo's Blinding Dart to harass. Those are your windows of opportunity to go for a favorable fight. Number 8. Always guard your top side buff. Come to lane slightly late and pretend you gave a leash. In high elo, this will make or break the game. For example, it will be the difference between your jungler getting invaded by the enemy Elise or Nidalee and them snowballing an entire game, or them going for their regular jungle route. The idea is the enemy jungler is discouraged to invade a blue or red buff that they think is already being taken because you fake leashed it. This tip is twofold. It also scouts out any cheese that an enemy jungler or Sion could potentially be pulling off. Had you not been standing there, they could potentially steal a buff. And lastly, you don't need to be in lane early. Slow pushing the first wave is very beneficial. Just don't miss any EXP while you're fake leashing. If an enemy laner is silly enough to arrive early and start hard pushing, hang back and punish them by staying near your turret. Thin out the enemy minion wave and set up a freeze. This forces the enemy laner to overextend indefinitely, miss CS due to tower proximity while not being able to crash his wave into your tower. Number 9. Sensing a gank based on enemy laner's movements. If your lane opponent suddenly changes their position in lane from farming to being aggressive, that's an early sign that you are about to get ganked. The other sign is if the enemy laner goes for a bad trade in order to bait for a gank. This usually works super well if the enemy jungler is either lane ganking or is a Zac or a Rek'Sai who can gank from angles that aren't usually warded. If the trade is too good to be true and you know the enemy jungler could very well be top, then it's up to you whether you are ready to take on the 1v2. Number 10. Timestamps. You can simply ping summoners now, but at a glance it isn't very intuitive as the game goes on. In Korean servers they manually type out the exact timings of when each summoner spell will be off cooldown. This is so your entire team can use this information at a glance. Here is a table showing all cooldowns of summoners. Using the table I've shown, add the exact cooldown to the game time of the ping summoner spell. Once it is typed out, hold shift plus the home key and Ctrl C to copy this text for later use. When new summoners are pinged, paste what you had before and add to the line of cooldowns and enter it into the chat to refresh whenever you have new information. This way, all vital information will be at the forefront of everyone's chat log. You'll typically do this throughout early to mid game as summoners are easier to track. These are 10 lesser known tips for the top lane. Conversely, they are quite applicable to mid and even bot lane. Hopefully you guys learned a few things. Let me know by commenting below which tip you found most helpful. If you're new to this channel and you enjoyed this video, be sure to show some support with a like and a comment. If you want to go the extra mile, subscribe and hit the notification bell and share this video on Reddit or something. Anyways, this is JC and I'll see hopefully all of you in my next video. Cheers.